Yesterday, we talked about the news of Compulsion Games being shut down, the devs behind the game South of Midnight, and in particular, their community manager, who made a number of disparaging remarks, hating on men and hating on Asian people. Really, she seems to hate everyone that's not black, essentially. So we talked about all that yesterday, and how that person, that community manager, was even talking about how terrible the gaming community is and how she hates the gaming community and she hates gamers, but that she's quote unquote not going anywhere. And then fast forward like a year later, and well, it seems like she is going somewhere, out the door, because again, studio's getting packed up. For more context into this absolutely pathetic community manager, consider watching yesterday's video. If you missed it, I will link it in the description for you. We're here today to talk about the modern audience reacting to yesterday's news regarding Compulsion Games, because they're freaking out, dodging any accountability, blaming everything except those who truly are responsible. For example, check this out. Tweet says, Xbox is reportedly planning to shut down Compulsion Games, South of Midnight. Back in April, Chief Layoff Officer Matt Booty praised the studio for winning a Peabody Award. And then they went on to say, the same OP here went on to say, as always, screw Microsoft for killing another talented team. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, so talented, bro. So talented. This got responses like it was a mid-game and they had 7 dang years to make it, lol. Maybe your actions have consequences. They killed themselves if true, FYI, and maybe don't waste 7 years making something nobody wants to play. Yeah, by the way, if you didn't check out the SteamDB chart or yesterday's video, the peak player count, according to my recollection, was 1438, which was funny because it was really similar to 1348 ex voto. You know, flip around the 3 and 4, like I said yesterday, little bit of an Easter egg, so to speak. Aside from that though, excuse me, it's also funny just because it's funny, that aside. Anyways, it gets worse. Or, well, worse for them, more amusing for us. Because that takes us to this absolute gem of a Cope post responding to the one that we just read. This person says, apparently there's no worse fate at Xbox than becoming an award-winning studio. It's ridiculous that such success can still be met with a kick out the door. What's ridiculous is that you care about a Peabody Award, dude. That doesn't mean anything. Oh my gosh. Wow, guys, they got a Peabody Award. It must be a great success. No, it's a worthless award that amounted to literally nothing. That's what it means, nothing. What makes it better is that tweet actually got 5,200 likes. Can you imagine? There's like 5,200 people that are like, wow, that's so true. How can you win a Peabody Award and then get shut down? As if the player count numbers don't matter and the sales don't matter. Hey, they got a Peabody Award, so it must be great. Yeah, no, that's not how that works. Check out the responses they got, though. The awards that gamers need to win are all related to player numbers, game sales, ROI, return on investment. Everything else is a quote-unquote participation prize. They give awards to terrible, woke games that don't sell. So yeah, awards are a great metric to choose who to shut down. Such success. Player count 1438 all-time peak. Because the awards are determined by a small ecosystem of ideologically aligned industry people patting themselves on the back. And these studios keep catering to niche audiences who will not buy enough product to keep the company afloat. I tick the most DI boxes awards. Don't pay the devs salaries. What makes it even crazier is South of Midnight apparently had a $100 million budget for development and marketing. $100 million budget for that game? Guys, if you've seen the gameplay for this, let me just say numbers are not adding up. I've seen worse games. I'm not saying it's the worst looking game ever. There's definitely worse looking games, but it does not look like a game that $100 million went into. And you see this all the time in the industry. There's massively inflated budgets on games that you could tell don't look like it would cost 1/10 of the budget. And even that's being generous by saying 1/10. It all reeks of like massive corruption, nepotism, cronyism, corruption. And then the modern audience wants to tell us that we're supposed to feel bad for these people when their corruption gets exposed and their games flop. Yeah, no thanks. But it still gets even more hilarious from there. Check this out. Madam Savvy pointing out this DI activist, feminist person named Melon, let's just say Kishona Gray, I guess is her name. Kishona Gray, I think it says there. It's kind of hard to tell. Text is a little faded. But this person was being propped up by the activist side of the industry for a number of years. You can go back and take a look at stuff like this, for example. This is from May 6, 2025, so about a year ago. It says, when did you first experience Southern Gothic in media? We spoke with the amazing Kishona Gray about why she loves the genre and how Southern Gothic themes are present in everyday lives of black folks in the South. And there she is.
We find a word to describe a thing. But I also realized
there's something funny, by the way, about the background music kind of sounding like clown Joker music, but you know, I'd like, but don't mind me. I'm just saying
that a lot of the Southern Gothic kind of theme is just present in the everyday lives of black Southern folks.
The reason this is funny is because Madam Savvy pointed out that later on, this person admit that they've never even played South of Midnight. Says, okay, I have a confession. I've not played this game yet, but I will. Promise, lol. I mean, that's just insane. I mentioned it yesterday. I mentioned how these people don't even play the games that they demand. They say this stuff's so important for representation, blah, blah, blah. And then they don't even play the games. They don't even buy the games. They don't even play the games. Even when they're going on camera, LARPing as if they care so much about this stuff, we find out, of course, that they don't. And it's not surprising. Like, the finding out part's not shocking. We all know that's the case with the modern audience. That's why so many of their games flop every single year. Many modern audience games just flopping all the time. Gets even better. I found a tweet from 2018 even where they were trying to prop up Kishona Gray. And this time, it's the one and only Anita Sarkeesian. She said, in response to Polygon, who wrote, "We speak with a panel of experts." Oh yeah, experts, yeah. About why many toxic men hover around the video game industry. Classic 2018 Polygon there. And I should just say classic Polygon. Some things never change, eh? But Anita Sarkeesian said, chatted with Polygon about toxic fanboys along with some other brilliant folks. Dude, experts, brilliant folks. Who are they trying to convince? Because I'm not convinced. Folks like Carolyn Michelle, Kate Miltner, Kishona Gray, Skamali. Now, Kishona Gray, you may have noticed in the tweets we've been taking a look at, her tag is not blue anymore because her account's gone. It looks like she deleted it after people kept mocking her for being a fake DI LARPer. Well, genuine DI activist, I should say, but video game LARPer. Deletes her whole account. You know, it's too much. Reality hits. Can't face reality. The lies have fallen apart. Better delete her whole account. Here's another example. 2017, the sort of stuff she was working on. Kishona Gray studies race, gender, and deviance. Identity and new media with a particular focus in gaming. At Equity in Gaming. Oh, Equity in Gaming. That's great, huh? Wait a second. Kishona Leah Gray. Oh, did she just move to this account then? Did she like ran away to this one? But then she wasn't active on this either. So no, that's not what happened. Because this account was most recently active in 2018. The Kishona Gray one was seemingly active up until 2025. But I don't know. I guess she tried to also make a tag called Equity in Gaming. You know that's going to be some sort of complete activist nonsense. Hey, we need to talk about how important equity in gaming is. Government, give us some DI grants, yeah? Hey, BlackRock. Hey, BlackRock, you want to help our research? This comment talking about something we've discussed in great detail here on the channel. It's a good point. We'll talk about it again. Let's check it out. It says, because they hired their friends and paid them a multiple of industry average salaries, massive outlay to quote-unquote consultancy firms with quote-unquote sensitivity readers, and of course also, you know, DI component of all that. For example, how Compulsion had apparently hired Sweet Baby Inc. to help work on South of Midnight. These people conspire with HR and DI departments to openly loot money from their class enemies, stockholders, while denigrating their perceived ideological enemies, gamers. Win-win for them. Imagine you had an opportunity to destroy something you hate from the inside while enriching yourselves in the process. That's what left-wing activists have been doing in every era of the entertainment industry. That's why they so hate and fear Steam, because the gaming is one area where you can still bypass the gatekeepers they have installed in publishing, movies, TV, etc., etc. Good points, and like I said, we've talked about all that in great detail on the channel numerous times. And of course, there is a bit more to it as well. They're not all like thinking the exact same thing. They don't all have like the exact same organized plot, plan, scheme, if you will. Some of them are just like that. They want to tear everything down. We've even heard Sweet Baby Inc. say that they want to burn down the games industry or something like that, according to my recollection. We covered that almost 2 years ago at this point in time, probably. But there are some of these left-wing activists that get into AAA companies like Activision Blizzard, and they don't want to tear the industry down. They just want to use their position to try and propagandize gamers, like I said, to try and like convert them to being leftists, and they want to have this really inflated salary while they do it. So those people, they don't want to burn the industry down so much as they want to change it. They want to try to change it, is what I was going to say. Others do want to just burn it all down. You know, there's a number of things going on here. All of them are corrupt, though. All of them are corrupt and pathetic and disingenuous. In other news, CD Projekt Red a couple hours ago made this tweet, basically their Pride Month tweet. And they've been getting a lot of criticism for this tweet. Now, I might do a separate short video on this, but here's a little insight, something I covered about 2 years ago in like a 30-minute long video about CD Projekt Red. In 2020, they got accused of being a transphobic company from a giant post-on Reset era. And in 2021, they started launching all of this inclusivity stuff. They changed their corporate structure to start pushing things like DEI, which is the inclusivity part of there, obviously the I and all that. Started pushing this pride stuff. And it really came off like they were terrified of being accused of being transphobic by Reset era. But also because at that point in time, around 2020, 2021, there was a proliferation of DI, ESG grants from the government and other capital funds. And they were probably leaning into that as well. Probably thought, hey, we can earn some points back with the modern audience mob that's going after us, and we can get some money from the government and these capital funds as well, which is funny to think about because also, like, who cares what Reset Era says? What a joke. But they did. And like I said, there was probably also some financial incentive because they figured they could also go after those grants and that funding while they try to appease the mob, the modern audience mob. And so even in 2026, they're still pushing that stuff, it seems. Pretty interesting when you actually take a look at how this all went down, though. But again, that's a really quick summary. I covered that in like 30-minute, much more detailed video about 2 years ago, like I said. But I figured I'd mention that really quick here at the end and possibly do a short follow-up. Not really a short follow-up, rather. A short video covering that today as well if I have enough time. But as for now, I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about the latest. I'll see you in the next one.